They say Las Vegas never sleeps, but on that night, it felt like the city was holding its breath. The neon lights still burned across the strip, reflections dancing on polished cars and glass towers, but something was different. The energy wasn't chaotic. It wasn't loud. It was focused. Like the entire city knew something historic was about to happen, and only a few were lucky enough to witness it first. It was just past 3 a.m. when the first shadows moved along Park Avenue, right outside Park MGM. No crowds. No screaming fans. No flashing cameras from media outlets. Just a quiet crew, dressed in dark uniforms, working under the glow of streetlights that painted everything gold. If you didn't know what you were looking at, you'd miss it entirely. But for those who did, it felt unreal. A street sign, ordinary, almost forgettable, stood still under the night sky. Park Avenue. A name that had existed for years, blending into the rhythm of Las Vegas traffic, unnoticed by most. But that night, it was about to disappear. A worker climbed the ladder slowly, carefully unscrewing the bolts as another held the base steady. The metal creaked slightly, echoing louder than it should have in the silence. There was no announcement. No countdown. Just the quiet removal of something familiar, making space for something unforgettable, and then, it happened, the old sign came down. For a brief second, there was nothing there. Just an empty pole, standing between the past and what was about to come next. And in that silence, before the replacement was revealed, you could almost feel the weight of what this moment meant. Because Las Vegas doesn't do this lightly. This city has seen legends come and go. Names that defined entire eras. Icons who built the very identity of the Strip. So who earned something like this? The answer came in the form of a new sign, slowly lifted into place. The letters caught the light instantly, bold and undeniable: Bruno Mars Drive. It didn't just look different. It felt different, like the city had just rewritten part of its own story. Somewhere, a phone camera quietly started recording. No commentary. No narration. Just pure, raw footage of a moment that wasn't supposed to be loud, but would soon echo everywhere. Because within hours, the world would see it. And when they did, the reaction wouldn't be calm. It wouldn't be subtle. It would explode, because this wasn't just about a name. It was about what that name represents. Bruno Mars wasn't always Bruno Mars Drive. He wasn't always the artist who could shut down Las Vegas Boulevard with a single announcement. Years ago, he was just another voice trying to break through an industry that doesn't wait for anyone. But what made him different wasn't luck, it was consistency, obsession, and a level of performance that refused to be ignored. When he first stepped onto stages in Las Vegas, no one could have predicted this. Not like this. Sure, he had hits. Sure, he had fans. But Las Vegas is a different kind of test. This is where careers either evolve, or fade. This is where legends are made, not by charts, but by presence. By the ability to walk onto a stage night after night and make every single person in the room feel like they're witnessing something once in a lifetime, and that's exactly what he did. Night after night, show after show, Bruno Mars didn't just perform, he dominated. The stage at Park MGM became more than a venue. It became his territory. A place where music, charisma, and precision collided into something almost impossible to replicate. People didn't just attend his shows. They experienced them. And once they did, they talked. Word spread. Demand grew. And before long, those shows weren't just successful, they were defining the modern Las Vegas era. Over 100 performances. Sold-out crowds. Millions in revenue. But numbers don't tell the full story. Because what really mattered was influence. He didn't just fill seats, he changed expectations. Suddenly, a residency wasn't just about staying relevant, it was about redefining what a live performance could be. Energy. Musicianship. Showmanship. Every detail mattered. Every moment had to hit. And Bruno Mars delivered, every single time. So when Las Vegas made the decision to rename a street, it wasn't random. It was recognition. Back on that quiet night, as the new sign was secured into place, something shifted. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. But it was permanent. Because from that moment on, every car that passed, every tourist who looked up, every fan who stood there for a photo, they would all see the same thing: Bruno Mars Drive. And even if they didn't know the full story, they would feel it.by sunrise, the city started to wake up. The same streets that had been silent just hours before began to fill with movement. Cars. Tourists. Energy returning to its natural state. But then people started noticing that at first, it was confusion. Wait, wasn't this Park Avenue? Then disbelief. No way, is that real? And finally, excitement. Phones came out. Photos were taken. Videos recorded. Social media lit up. And just like that, what started as a quiet overnight change became a global moment. Because in a world where everything moves fast, where trends come and go in seconds, something like this still has power. It means something, but the story didn't end there, because that same day, Las Vegas wasn't just celebrating a street name. It was celebrating a legacy. The Bruno Mars Day parade wasn't just an event, it was a statement. A declaration that this artist, this performer, this name, had become part of the city's DNA. The Strip, known for its lights and excess, transformed into something else entirely, a stage not just for a performance, but for recognition. Crowds gathered. Music filled the air. And somewhere in the middle of it all, the name that had been quietly installed just hours before now stood proudly in the daylight, no longer a secret: Bruno Mars Drive. What makes this moment even more powerful is what it represents beyond Las Vegas. Because this isn't just about one artist. It's about what's possible. It's about the idea that someone can rise, not just through talent, but through relentless commitment to excellence, and leave a mark that outlives any single performance. Las Vegas has honored icons before. Names that define generations. Figures who built the foundation of what the city is today. And now, Bruno Mars stands among them, not as a newcomer, not as a trend, but as a force that reshaped the modern era. And it all comes back to that moment. 3:00 a.m. A quiet street. A sign coming down, another going up. No crowd. No announcement. Just history being written in real time. Most people will only remember the parade. The headlines. The photos in daylight. But the real story, the one that feels almost cinematic, happened when the city was asleep. When only a handful of people were there to see it. When Las Vegas, for just a moment, chose silence over spectacle, because sometimes, the biggest changes don't need noise, they just need meaning. And as the lights of the Strip continue to shine, as the city moves forward into whatever comes next, one thing is certain: that name isn't going anywhere, not tomorrow, not next year, not anytime soon, because Bruno Mars Drive isn't just a street. It's a symbol of impact, of legacy, and of a night when Las Vegas quietly decided that one name deserved to be part of its forever story. And maybe, years from now, long after the parade lights have faded and the viral videos have been buried beneath newer trends, someone will walk down that same stretch of road without even realizing the weight it carries. They'll glance up for a second, read the name Bruno Mars Drive, and keep moving, unaware that they're stepping through a piece of history that was once whispered into existence under the cover of night. But for those who know, it will always feel different, because they'll remember that this wasn't just given, it was earned. Every note sung, every stage conquered, every night where the pressure to be perfect wasn't optional but expected. They'll remember how one artist didn't just adapt to Las Vegas, he forced Las Vegas to evolve around him. And maybe that's the real story, not the sign. Not the parade. Not even the name itself, but the idea that somewhere out there, right now, someone is chasing a dream that feels impossible, unaware that one day, if they push far enough, the world might quietly stop, just long enough to make space for their name too.